Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for coming. Let's talk about something not always covered in spiritual circles. Mastership. And it's beautiful because, yes, number one, first and foremost, there is a necessity of humility, a massive necessity. But today, I want to dive into mastership. And that word just came to me recently. It's not discussed very often. We talk about masters, mastery. We hear about it and we experience it. And it's been on my radar for a number of months now. Mastery. What is mastery? But in Costa Rica, it was August of this year, 2021. This shift came into mastership, which is, as I'm seeing it, a state of being, right? As opposed to mastery, which is mastering something. What comes to mind is walking. The vast majority of us are masters of walking. And of course, masters of breathing, right? Things that are automatic now, we don't have to think about. But this being soul's enterprise, really fascinating to think about mastery of spirituality. But before we get into spirituality, let's be very clear. You choose what you want to master, right? So if you want to be a carpenter, you master carpentry. You want to be an auto mechanic, master being an auto mechanic, or music, or whatever. But here at Soul's Enterprise, let's for a moment check in with this possibility of spiritual mastery. What would that look like? What would that be? And especially this concept of mastership, spiritually, residing in the mastery as your state. So the writer, journalist Malcolm Gladwell famously talked about the 10,000-hour rule. I don't know if you heard of that. I heard about it a while ago and I did a quick Google search. It comes from a study by Anders Ericsson. And Gladwell was saying that it takes an enormous time investment and practice to have mastery. 10,000-hour rule is about 20 hours a week for 10 years. So if we wanted to master meditation, there you go. So it's an interesting concept, this 10,000-hour rule. Yeah, something to think about if you haven't thought about it before, and applying it to spiritual practice if you're interested in spiritual mastery, spiritual mastership. But these being the tail end of our darkroom deepening discussions, I will share personally what came up for me meditating on diving into mastership. And that is the pace, slowing down. Feeling into how slowly masters operate. And I'm not talking in any outside level, Obviously master runners and master athletes move quickly. Master auctioneers talk very quickly. Right now, hopefully there's some degree of mastery in my communication and I'm in master of the pace. But internally, hopefully you can feel, even if I talk quickly, there's still some slowness inside. And then we have the example of beloved Osho, who gave me the name Prasad, and the pace at which he speaks. Please, if you haven't ever, go to YouTube, type in Osho, and watch a few minutes of him speaking. So masterful, so slow, so hypnotic. That's a different discussion. Today, we're talking about just looking at the pace of mastery, mastership, right? The vibrational speed that mastership moves at. And the last anecdote I'm comically share again is my eating story while in the darkroom retreat. In my darkroom retreat in October, literally no schedule, nothing set to do today. I'm sitting in the darkroom and food would come in twice a day. I arranged for food to be delivered. Food comes in and I start eating habitually, right? Quickly. In a lot of the Western countries, we have a half an hour lunch and, this is a go, go, go to do pace society, get a lot done, which actually isn't mastery. Moving slowly. And so I caught myself and I finally started eating slowly. One savorful bite at a time. And that felt a little more in the realm of mastership. And so that's a great, and yes, plenty of times out of the dark room, I see myself eating fast again. And that's the last whole point I want to make about mastery, mastership, as you explore it for yourself, is it takes practice and patience. Lots of practice, lots of patience. And I leave you with that. Much love, many blessings on your paths and journeys towards mastery and mastership.